Hola a todos, buenas tardes, bienvenidos a nuestro YouTube Live del día de hoy. ¿Cómo están? Qué bueno verlos por acá, qué bueno saber que se han decidido a venir a ver esta clase y qué bueno que siempre están pendientes. Today I started speaking Spanish because normally when I deliver English classes, I start greeting in English. So now today we have the Spanish class. So I'd like to greet in Spanish first. So I'm so glad to be here with you guys. I'm so glad to see that you are logging in, that you are connecting here, and that you're also always very that you keep yourselves posted about the new content that we are sharing with you guys. So I'm so glad to know that. Okay, today our appointment is about the verb gustar. And why did I choose this topic, this verb? Well, since 2021, I have been teaching Spanish as a second language, of course. And in my experience teaching Spanish as a second language for students all over the world, I've learned how difficult this verb can be. This verb can be really difficult for non-Spanish speaking people. And there was something that I wanted to address in order to try to wipe out some misunderstandings about the verb gustar, mostly because it can't be treated like another verb in Spanish. It has rules that we wouldn't apply to other verbs in the same way. Actually, the English logic for the action of like is different in Spanish. So this is the first point that I wanted to address today. The way that we are translating the verb gustar and the use of the verb gustar from English perspective is not exactly correct. So the way that we will translate the verb gustar must be according to the Spanish grammar logic, not the English one, because they are too different. So check out this point. I want to share my screen, and of course you will be asking at the very beginning, okay, so are we to go over regular verbs again? And no, in this case, regular verbs at the very beginning, at the beginning of this slides, is just for you guys to feel like focused, or not focused, to have some kind of orientation when it comes to the kind of verb we are dealing with. So the verb gustar is a regular verb. So starting from that, we can understand lots of things. So, but first of all, we have the objectives of today's class. By the end of this class, you will, first of all, conjugate those regular verbs. Well, this is a general goal, because, of course, the last class we dealt with this. Today, we will focus just on the verb gustar. Therefore, we will be speaking of the group, of the AR group only, okay? So conjugate regular AR verbs in present tense, specifically the verb gustar, and using it to express likes and dislikes correctly. And of course, understand and apply direct object pronouns, because this is the other side of the coin. If you have to use the verb gustar in both languages, English or Spanish, you will have to add a direct object pronoun. But the way to place this object pronoun in both languages is different. So, goals for this lesson is are focusing on the verb gustar as an AR regular verb, understanding how it will be conjugated, and also understanding how to apply the direct object pronouns when using the verb gustar. And no more confusions, okay? So after this class, you will have a clearer landscape about how to use gustar. So I will start in this moment with this slide and this question. ¿Te gusta aprender español? And you might be answering in two ways. Sí, me gusta, or no, no me gusta. When we asked this question, we are using the verb like. In the first part, the question itself says, do you like learning Spanish? ¿Te gusta aprender español? Do you like learning Spanish? The first option is yes, I do. Sí, me gusta. And the second option is no, I don't. No, no me gusta. What did change? When we ask the question, in English we have do you like, do you like? So we have to use an auxiliary verb. That means this verb do, the verb do that we are adding in order to create, in order to ask the question, to actually create the question, here in Spanish is totally absent because we don't have auxiliary verbs such as do this, that. Of course, do this, that work, or they exist in Spanish as a verb hacer only, but not as auxiliary verbs. So we can't ask a question in Spanish using the verb gustar, trying to put something before the verb like do. No, because we don't need it. We don't need to add anything else to a question because with the verb itself, the verb is enough. So, gustar. ¿Te gusta aprender español? But let's see. I can perfectly spot the verb gustar. It is gusta in this case. But what about te? What is te? ¿Te gusta aprender español? Why are we actually asking the question using something that means to you? It's like, to you like learning Spanish? Hello, Dad, I'm here. Hi, Dad. Welcome. And isn't this moment that we totally feel like mind blowing and we say, okay, do you like learning Spanish? More or less. And then we have the answers. Sí, me gusta. Yes, I do. Or no, no me gusta. No, I don't. Of course, here we find another difference between English and Spanish. In English, you can say yes. We find it sí, great. I do. We are confirming, we are using the same auxiliary verb that we used to ask the question. But since in Spanish we don't have that kind of auxiliary verbs, is logic that we won't have it in the answer itself too, right? We won't have it in the answer either. And that's another difference that we have between those two languages. Yes, I like. Instead of saying yes I do or something literally expressing yes I do, we actually say in Spanish yes I like. Do you like learning Spanish? Yes, I like. Or simply yes. But if we say no, we simply add the negative form. No, I don't like. which in English will be something like no, I don't. Those forms are different, but they are too easy to learn. So we just need to practice them. But let's come back to the basics. Key points that we have to keep in mind when studying the verb gustar. Of course, the regular verb ending, the regular verbs ending, regular verb endings. Those regular verbs endings, that was something that we studied on Tuesday. It was something we studied on Tuesday. It's something we started to see 1 month ago. And today I just brought it up uh, uh, just to keep them relevant because we are talking about a specific AR verb. Since we have the AR conjugation model here, hablar, hablo, hablas, habla, hablamos, hablan, we can replace this verb, and instead of using hablar, we can use gustar. And the model conjugation will perfectly work for gustar as well. Remember, the conditions that must be met to have a regular AR verb, not what the conditions, the conditions that must be met to have. Oh, I messed up my ideas. Is it hablar, hablo, habla, habla? Yeah, I was going to say the conditions to met this. To met conditions to have a regular verb, a regular AR verb is actually keeping those endings always. Okay. Yeah, that was actually what I wanted to say. If we simply replace the root hablar for gustar, we will get the same outcome. Okay? Gusto, gustas, gusta, gustamos, gustan. We dropped the root hablar, the root from the verb hablar, and we put instead the verb gustar. And we got the same outcome. We got the same result because the endings are the same. Why? Because they are regular AR verbs. Yeah, that was more or less the idea that I wanted to share with you with these key points at the beginning. Examples. Yo hablo español, tú comes pizza, ellos viven en Perú. So those are just examples to see how they work in a sentence, but we can perfectly replace those verbs with gustar. I like Spanish. I like pizza. I like Peru. Or, well, uh, uh, trying to match the different personal pronouns we have available over there. We have I like Spanish, you like pizza, or they like Peru. Important. In those cases, I'm just replacing the verbs hablar, comer, vivir for the verb gustar. For you guys to see how these sentences can also be relevant for us today. Now, finally, let's see the verb gustar. Remember that in the previous slide, we checked out the different conjugations endings. Hablo, hablas, habla, hablamos, hablan. Wiping out the HABL root and put it instead GUST from the verb gustar, we get the same endings. We get the same letters at the ending. Gusto, gustas, gusta, gustamos, gustan. But when we actually use the verb gustar, we add something else that wasn't taken into account when I read the different conjugations from the verb gustar, right? We say me gusta or me gustan, or even Te gusta, te gustan, le gusta, le gustan, nos gusta, nos gustan. So the conjugation by itself is not enough. We always add something else. So what is that like? And this is the key point related to the verb gustar. The verb gustar agrees with the thing that is liked, not the person. Me gusta el café. I like coffee. Me gusta el café. So this me, which is an object pronoun, is used in order to say that, well, this is the way that I always explain this to my students in class. I always translate, I always deliver this little translation with, to me, like the coffee, something like that. Of course, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense in English, but it can be it can be a sort of literal translation. Me gusta el café. When they say the verb gustar agrees with the thing that is liked and not the person, that mean that is when it comes to a number. That's why you'll see that the coffee is just one. So the coffee, me gusta el café. So I like the coffee, just one. But in the sentence below, when we mentioned the books, we don't say me gusta anymore. We say me gustan. We add this n. Why? Because now the object that is liked is plural. So I like the books. We have to adapt, we have to agree, or we have to make the verb agree with the noun, the number that is and the noun's number. Me gustan los libros. But let's suppose that I'm saying I like the book, just one. In that situation, I shouldn't be adding the N for gustar. Why? Because I'm speaking about one book, I like just one book. Me gusta el libro. And this is where the verb gustar gets darker for example, English speaking students, because this kind of agreement doesn't exist in English. It's something that you have to adapt yourself, you have to get used to it when studying your Spanish language as a second language. Okay? It agrees, the verb gustar agrees with the thing that is liked in number. Me gusta el café, me gusta because it's just one. Just one coffee, something that likes to me, like, oh, the coffee does the action of liking to me. It doesn't make sense in English at all, but it's more or less the logic. Me gustan los libros, I like the books. Adjusting the conjugation of the verb gustar to the number of the noun we're talking about. And now we have a third example. ¿Te gusta bailar? This time we simply changed. We switched. No, we switched. We used another object pronoun, in this case, te. When it comes to te, that means to you. So this question is asked to you. I am asking you the question. So, do you like dancing? ¿Te gusta bailar? And this is the secret. Let's recap. Let's do the first recap. First of all, the verb gustar is a regular AR verb. So that means that we will keep the same endings that we studied on Tuesday. We can perfectly apply them to the verb gustar. And the outcome will be the actual conjugation of the verb. So no worries, you can simply get the endings, the A are regular verbs endings, and put them to the verb gustar, and the outcome is correct. Okay? But that's not like it is not all the information, because also the verb gustar, a regular AR verb, agrees with the thing that is liked in the case of the number. So if we like one thing, we have to use gusta. Okay. Oh, for some reason I can't see the full messages here. Would you mind explaining how to use? I have to copy and paste it here another part, because for some reason there is like a notification. Would you mind explaining how to use el, los, te? Yeah, actually, in the case of the last part of today's class, we will be talking about direct object pronouns, which includes a los. Te is something that we are studying, but we can delve deeper. And the case of el, when you mean el, do you mean the article or the personal pronoun? Can you, Willie, can you please enlighten me on it? Do you mean el, the article, like the article da, or el when it comes to the personal pronoun? Please let me know what is the el that you want to go over, please. Okay. So that was a recap that I was trying to explain. So gustar, a regular irregular a, in this case the indefinite article, a regular AR verb, which uses the conjugations, the endings of a regular AR verb. It also agrees with the thing that is liked. That means if we like one thing, we will use gusta. If we like more than one thing, we will use gustan. And these two are the only conjugations we need. Important. These are the only two conjugations we need to translate the verb like in terms of liking something, okay? Why? Gusta applied for singular, gustan applied for plural. And that's it. What we actually change is who likes what. Me gusta, te gusta, le gusta, nos gusta, les gusta. What did I mean in all of those sentences? Me gusta is I like, which I always literally translate as it likes to me, like me gusta. I like. Te gusta will be you like or do you like. Remember, we use the same structure for questions as well. Te gusta, you like or do you like. So of course, me gusta will be do I like in the case I want to like ask myself. Le gusta will be used for he, she, it, and the formal you. Le gusta a ella, a él, a usted, etc. Well, those three, of course. And also, nos gusta, we like, nos gusta. And then les gusta. When we use les, that means it to you guys or to them. Like they like or you guys like. That point, I think, is the most confusing one, because it is like a turned over logic, um, uh, when it like regarding to English language. So it's totally different from English. But this is what you guys need to know about the verb gustar when it comes to its structure. Now, let's see. Direct object pronouns, which includes the los that Willie brought here to the chat. And direct object pronouns is only like they are the things, the words that will replace the noun that receives the action. Okay? Not only that receives the action, but also the object of the action itself. For example, when we say the word lo, that is very popular, we use it a lot. So maybe the students of Spanish language as a second language have seen them have seen it a lot. That means it, but it as masculine singular. Veo el libro means I see the book. But if I say lo veo, it will be I see it. Me gusta el café. What's el café? Is that a double subject or a man's coffee? That's a great question. That's a great question. The one Willie has brought up here to this class, because in Spanish we adapt the article according to the gender of a word, not according to our gender. Okay, this is a very common confusion that that remains among Spanish students, Spanish language students. Why? Because we say el café, that means that a coffee in Spanish is masculine. Okay, but Veronica, what does it mean that it is masculine? That means that it is for men. So women in Spanish don't drink coffee. No. The gender of a word, it doesn't have to do with that. It doesn't have to do with our gender as humans, as human beings. No, it doesn't have to do with that. Simply, it is a masculine word. It uses a masculine article. We have el without the mark on the top of e, and that means the. El café means the coffee. So when Willie says, is that a double subject? What happens? We also have the word el with a mark on the top of e, but that means he. Okay? So let's suppose that we have the sentence, he likes the coffee. Let me see if I have some space here to use. Okay, let me stop sharing. I will open a new one here to make some examples, because this is a very good question. Okay, here we have this new one. So let's suppose that we have a él le gusta el café. So this is he likes the coffee. Okay, let's put it bigger to be seen. He likes the coffee. So what is that? When we say a él, we are expressing that is he likes. Remember, the verb gustar agrees with what is liked. So we have just one coffee, so gusta is okay. But we also, in Spanish, we're very specific when it comes to who's doing the action. But in this case, who's receiving the action? Remember, in Spanish, we follow the logic that the coffee does the action of like create this sense uh, of of, of attraction, uh, um, interest. Oh, he likes the coffee. But the logic in Spanish is backwards. It's like the coffee likes to him, something like that. This is what we are actually saying. A él, like to him. A él le gusta el café. The first él shows a mark on the top of E because this is he. This is the way the word he in Spanish is written. Okay? El with an accent. It is not called accent, it is called tilde. It is a mark with a mark on the top of E. But if you see this word without the mark on the top, it is not he anymore. It will be the article daddy. Okay? This is the difference. When Willie says el café, is that a double subject? No. El café is the coffee, masculine noun, because in Spanish café is a masculine noun. But when it comes to he or him in this case, will be él with a mark on the top. This is the difference. And this is why marks are important in Spanish, are very important, because in this way we can distinguish who's the personal pronoun and who is the article, or maybe an object pronoun, or any other pronoun that we might be getting confused with. A él le gusta el café. Notice how here we say le gusta, so gusta, because we have el café, just one. But let's suppose that we are saying los cafés. Maybe we're not talking just about the strong coffee. Maybe we're calling. Am I saying the word calling? Maybe we're not talking about not only talking about strong coffee. Maybe we're talking about latte. Maybe we're talking about mocha, or simply I don't know, like different presentations, variations of coffee. Los cafés, the coffees, los cafés. In that situation, we'll have to adapt the verb gustar. How? Simple. A él, a él le gustan los cafés. That will be he likes. In English, it remains. It stays the same way. He likes the coffees. Maybe this is too weird. Maybe this is not something that you'll naturally say in English. Of course, I totally understand that. Remember, the structures and logic behind each language is totally different. But it's just a way to make it much more like approachable, and to be like literally translating it in order to see what word represents wood, in which case. A él le gustan los cafés. Los cafés. It is actually not that common in Spanish, unless you're saying, oh, does he like a specific kind of coffee? No, he likes coffees in general, like any kind of coffee. A él le gustan los cafés. Or maybe we're talking about coffee shops. In that case, it makes much more sense to use it in plural in Spanish. Le gustan los cafés. I don't know, the coffee that is sold in this chain, but the other chain as well. So he likes the places, the shops, the coffee shops. Le gustan los cafés. In this case, it won't be he likes the cafés, but he likes the coffee shops. And this is the way we use it in Spanish, adapting the verb gustar to the number of things that are liked, or the thing that is liked. If it's just one, gusta. If it's two or more than two, gustan. And this is all we need. We won't be using gustamos with that. It's not that common. Of course, those conjugations can be used as well, but in other circumstances. I know there are accent marks in Spanish, but how can I tell? Oh, sorry, I took off my glasses. I'm so. But how can I tell them apart when people speak? They sound the same. Okay, good question too. Um, Accents. Well, the marks, the accent marks. Normally, they don't. They are used for different purposes. Um, they aren't used for pronunciation as we use them in French. We use them to differentiate verbal tenses and even words with the same spelling. That's the way. In Spanish, this topic is very um, complicated, even for us, even for native speakers, because I must confess that I totally understood this topic when I was 15, when I was 15 years old. And we, Spanish speaking people, we study the native speakers. We study this topic since, I don't know, first grade in elementary school. But I ended up understanding it at age of 15 because it is long, it is complicated. My dad is a master in that topic, and when it comes to the different kinds of words, palabras agudas, graves, esdrújulas. But those rules determine and they conduct the way we will use these accent marks. Now, when it comes to how to spot them, how to identify them when people are speaking. Okay, this is important because when people are when people speak in past tense, they will use this accent. Okay, yo hablé, yo comí, yo reí. What we do is simply mark when writing that the stress of the word isn't that letter that we are pronouncing stronger. Comí, hablé, soñé. We apply like a strength, like we apply the stress on that letter. So we mark it graphically. Okay? It is used in past tense. It is used for conditional mode as well. Yo iría, iría. Where is the accent mark here? Where the stress is pronounced. Where you can spot the stress in a word, over there you can find the accent mark. This is the way to spot it. It is not always written because of those rules that I just confessed here publicly that I didn't understand, that I didn't understand until I was 15. Yeah, because they are so long, they are kind of difficult. For me, it was kind of difficult at that time. So yeah, but that's a way to spot them when people speak. So the stress of a word says helps understand where this accent mark is, even though it is not always written. Okay, why is it written sometimes and why it isn't written sometimes? It depends on these rules that I just mentioned. The kind of words. There are some kind of words which are the graves, the graves words. They don't have those accent marks, even though we can perfectly spot the stress of a word. Okay, that's that's um, that's how to spot it. How to say, oh, okay. In this word, for example, if I say bolígrafo, bolígrafo is one of the hundreds of words that we have to say pen. bolígrafo, bolígrafo. The stress is in the I. So if you check the word bolígrafo, you can see how the accent mark is like a flame, is put like a flame on the I. So let's see. We started with direct object pronouns, and between among direct object pronouns we have lo, la, los, las. The first two ones, lo and la, are translated as it, both. Los and las, the translation is them, both. Both, yes. Okay, let's see. Lo stands for masculine singular. Veo el libro. El libro is a masculine word. But Veronica, that means that books is just for men. No, no, no. It has nothing to do with women, men. No, it has nothing to do with that. It's just the gender of a word. In French, it exists as well. So it is in Italian, Catalan, Portuguese, other language. Yeah, Romanian as well. It's like the it's like the articles in German as well. Is like that. It's simply it is what it is. Like el libro, the book is masculine. Yeah, it is what it is. Don't it has a rule back in this articles, of course, but the rule has more to do with the ending of a word, not the if it's man or for men, for women. It has nothing to do with that. Are you a native speaker? How can I say double R fluently with that? Native Spanish speaker? Yeah, I do. I do. Sorry, I am. Are you a native Spanish speaker? Yes, I am. How can I say double R fluently without vibration? Well, the situation with the vibration is simply like you can train your tongue. You can put it. You can put the tip of your tongue here behind your teeth. Simply leave it. Leave the you lift the tip of your tongue, you leave it, like you let your tongue stay in this position, and you let the airflow go without like sticking your tongue to the teeth. For example, like um I never took my tongue down. No, no, no. I kept the tongue in this position whilst the airflow was leaving my mouth. So this is the practice. Don't worry if you don't actually pronounce it in that way, because many Spanish native speakers aren't able to pronounce the R in that way, and they can communicate effectively, perfectly all their lives long. So it is not something that you have to master to be fluent in Spanish. So no worries so strong about it. So it is with practice, and you can master the pronunciation. But if you don't master it, it is okay. So you can be understood as well. Okay, let's see. Then we have la. La will be applied for feminine singular. For example, escucho la canción. I listen to the song. The song is feminine. La canción. If I want to say I listen to it, I will say la escucho. La links to canción. In this way, we can prove that lo and la effectively represent it. I see the book. Veo el libro. I see it. Lo veo. What's the difference? In Spanish, we put this direct object pronoun first. We don't say veo lo. No, we will say lo veo. In French, it's the same order. So, lo veo. I see it backwards. Now, when it comes to the song, escucho la canción. I listen to the song. I listen to it. La escucho. Backwards compared to English. Now, when it comes to los and las, this is them. Los will be masculine plural and las is feminine plural. You guys, maybe you guys already spotted the fact that la as it is the same word like la, the article. How will you spot the difference? The difference lies on the fact that the difference is la followed by a noun is an article. La followed by a verb is it. Is the direct object pronoun, it. But for feminine. For example, la canción. In this word, la canción, la works as an article, the song. Whilst after the arrow, we have la escucho. We have la followed by a verb, a conjugated verb. So this is not an article anymore. This is it now. La. Even though the spelling is the same, the word function is different. La escucho. I listen to it. Okay. So that is with the case of los and las. Tengo los zapatos. I have the shoes. Los tengo. I have them, but I've got them as well. Tengo los zapatos. I have the shoes, or I've got the shoes. I have them, or I've got them. Los tengo. Los, the direct object pronoun, comes first. Los tengo. Here is the same word, same logic. Los zapatos, los followed by a noun, the shoes. Los followed by a verb, a conjugated verb, los, direct object pronoun, so them. So that will be with the case of las, feminine plural. Veo las películas. I see the movies or the films. Veo las películas. Las veo. I see them. Okay, important, because in English it doesn't make sense, or it is not that common to say see them when it comes to the movies. In this case will be watch. So I watch the movies, I watch them. In Spanish we can perfectly use the verb ver. So veo, I see, I watch the movies. Las veo, I see, I watch them. This is what these 4 words mean. The 2 first mean it, the 2 below mean that. Summarizing all this information that I just shared, the direct object represents what receives the action. It can be an object, it can be a person, okay? Because I can perfectly say something like, I see my dog. I see my dog. Yo lo veo. I see it, or I see him. So lo, it can also be, well, yeah, that was something that I missed here. Lo can also be him. Can be it can be him. Because the object of a sentence can be a thing, can be an idea, or can perfectly be a person. La, as well, we have la, La can be replacing it, like can be, can be translated as it, but also as her. Because in this opportunity, I'm talking about the song, la canción, but I can perfectly say, I see my sister. Yo veo a mi hermana. I see her. Yo la veo. And so that will be with los and las. They can also be them referring to people. That means that the people, the men, the women, the children. Yes. So and there will be los and las as well. Okay. A direct object is what receives the action. It doesn't matter if it's a thing, an idea, a person. It replaces the object of a sentence. If the object of a sentence was introduced, no, I'm sorry, that's the explanation I gave for French. If the object of a sentence is expressed using the noun, the proper name, noun or proper name, it can be perfectly substituted. It can be replaced by one of those direct object pronouns according to the gender and number of this sentence object. Okay? So if it's my sister, I see my sister, or I see the sister. I see my sister. Yo veo a mi hermana. Oh, I see her. Yo la veo. I will use la because it's la hermana is feminine and it's just one. But if I say I see the sisters, I'll have to say yo veo las hermanas, yo veo a las hermanas, yo las veo. Why? Because it's feminine and plural. It is not la anymore because it is not hermana, it's hermanas. So yo las veo, I see them. It substitutes, it replaces the thing that was mentioned. It can be mentioned as a noun, it can be mentioned as a proper name, etc. And of course, it shortens the sentence. When I say shortens, that means it is not the same. It is, of course, shorter if I say yo la veo instead of saying yo veo a mi hermana or yo veo a la hermana. It shortens the sentence. It cuts the noun. It cuts the noun or it cuts the proper name as well. For example, Verónica. Oh, yo veo a Verónica. Verónica is a proper name. Yo veo a Verónica, but I can perfectly say yo la veo. So I cut the proper name as well. Or simply yo veo a la maestra. Or yo veo a la profesora. I see the teacher. And I can say, like, I see her. Yo la veo. Which is the best Spanish accent to start learning Spanish? I've been watching videos about Dominican accent, but it's hardest. Yeah, let's say that is one of the hardest. You can start, for example, you can start with Mexican or Venezuelan dubbing. How is that? For example, you can take a dub film in Spanish, like, for example, I don't know, a movie that you like. Maybe that you take a movie from, I don't know, from the 90s, from the 2000s, this time, the film that you prefer, but try to watch it dubbed to Spanish, and you can opt for the Mexican or Venezuelan dubbing, because normally in Venezuela, not now because, well, you know, all the situation, but in Mexico it's very common. The dubbing industry is a huge industry. So this accent is kind of like much more neutral, is slower, because of course it is addressed to a wider audience. So the idea of this dubbings is that everybody in the continent will be everybody in the continent can understand it. So you can try with that one. What happens with, for example, Spanish from Spain? Spanish from Spain, of course, it uses um, some conjugations, not just the conjugations. Sorry, the personal pronoun vosotros that we don't use in this side of the Atlantic. So it is an additional conjugation that you have to master. Also, pronunciation of some letters like C, S, Z are a different in the case of like in South America, Central America, and Mexico. We pronounce C, S, and Z with the same sound, okay? Which is a source of confusion for us, but we manage it in that way. But in Spain, they have different pronunciations, so it can be harder to learn. But it is up to you actually, because it is perfectly fine to handle like one kind of accent more than other accents, even though it's not like too popular to be used to learn as a beginner, because you can perfectly understand British English, and maybe the most of the people, they say, no, I prefer studying with American English. So it is okay. It is up to you. But you can try with Latin American dubbing, which is made in Mexico, which industry is great. So you can try with that. Where are you? I live in Peru. I live in Peru. Okay, let's see. Now, I brought here some examples because, okay, we've been dealing with direct object pronouns, and of course, to understand, to also to further to understand further the verb gustar, we can also use indirect object. We have to use indirect object pronouns. But let's say this first. We have quiero el chocolate. I want the chocolate. Then I say lo quiero. Lo is replacing would. Can you guys tell me in the chat, lo is replacing, what word is replaced by the word lo? What part of the sentence is replaced by the word lo? Did you spot it? What's the word? Let's see. Lo quiero. I say, I want the chocolate. Quiero el chocolate. Lo quiero. When I say lo quiero, remember lo represents it. So I want it. Lo is replacing the chocolate. El chocolate. Lo quiero. Llamo a María. That was actually what I was talking about some minutes ago. I call Maria. In Spanish, we add the preposition a. La llamo. So llamo is I call, conjugated, and la replaces Maria. So la in this opportunity is not replacing a thing, but a person. La llamo. Whom? To whom? A Maria. Yo la llamo. And then we have the third example. Compramos los boletos. We buy the tickets, or we bought the tickets. Remember that in present and past tense for regular AR verbs, the conjugation for nosotros is the same. So compramos los boletos. With more context, we would be able to see if it's we buy or we bought. We buy the tickets or we bought the tickets. And then we say los compramos. Los is replacing would word. Would word is replaced here by los, by the using of los. Let's see if you guys in the chat now. Los replaces the tickets. Los boletos, the tickets. Los compramos. So before the arrow, we have we buy or we bought the tickets. Nosotros compramos los boletos. After the arrow, we have we buy them or we bought them. That's what los stands for. That's what los means. Okay. So why did we leave behind the verb gustar if we started with the verb gustar? Actually, we started with the verb gustar because it's a very confusing verb for non-native speakers. But of course, since we always speak about things that we like, of course, when it comes to asking questions related to it, we'll have to use direct object pronouns. Me gusta la música. I like the music. Here, adding the article. Me gusta la música. In this blank, what do we have to add in this blank? Because the next word says escuchas. Like, listen, you listen. So maybe the question is, do you listen? Do you listen to it? Do you listen to the music? But in this case, we have to replace the music. How do we replace the music? By it. In Spanish, how would it be like? Me gusta la música. I like music. Do you listen to it? So the question will be, ¿la escuchas? Do you listen to it? Do you listen to it? La escuchas. La replacing la música. La here stands for it. Second sentence, second question. ¿Tienes los libros? Do you have the books? ¿Tienes los libros? Do you have the books? Sí, yes, or yes, I do. But no, yes, only because yes, I do is for yes, no questions. And here we have a longer answer. So yes, blank, I have. Let's remember that the direct object pronoun comes first, before the verb in Spanish. So we won't be saying tengo and then the direct object pronoun. We will have to put it first. So sí, los tengo. Los tengo. Yes, I have them. Them is los, which we put it before the verb. Sí, los tengo. Yes, I have them. But this is also a good answer. Not a good answer, sorry. This is something that we can use as well to use the verb gustar. For example, ¿te gustan los libros? Do you like books? ¿Te gustan los libros? But the answer won't be the same. So the question works for the verb gustar. ¿Te gustan los libros? But the answer won't be working like sí me gustan without using los. So that will be simply me gustan, adapting the verb. And then now we have a question with gustan. Me gustan las películas románticas. This is the moment where direct object pronoun can be used in a sentence, like in a sentence using a gustar. If a question was asked, good night, teacher. Good night. Well, in this case, will be good evening because we are greeting. But at the end, when saying goodbye, we can say good night because in this way we are wishing good night we're wishing good night each other. But as a greeting, you can start with good evening. So good night is not a greeting; it's a farewell. But today will be good evening. Good night is a farewell. Farewell. So, me gustan las películas románticas. I like romantic movies or romantic films. The question related to this statement. Me gustan las películas románticas. Me gustan las películas. I'm speaking about plural. Here in the question it says ves. Ves means you see or do you see, depending on the sentence. In this case, it's a interrogative sentence. So, do you see? But there's something missing here, a blank. How can we fill this blank in if we are talking about las películas románticas, the romantic movies, romantic films? Remember, las películas is feminine, so the direct object pronoun will be las ves. Las ves? Do you see them? Las ves? Personally, I don't like romantic movies. I don't know why. I don't know. I don't like romantic movies. So that was what I wanted to show you guys. How we cannot put together in the same sentence the direct object pronoun and the verb gustar. Why? Because it doesn't work like that. And if we have to use a direct object pronoun is when answering a question that is maybe introduced by not answering a question, when introducing a question related to a sentence with gustar, like this. I will repeat that, but because I think I messed it up a little bit. Me gustan las películas románticas. We won't use the direct object pronoun in the same sentence, in the same clause with the verb gustar. No. We won't say me lo gustan, me las gustan, me gustan lo. No. In the same sentences, they're going to be all together in the same sentence. But they can work together with the same, with a related meaning. Me gustan las películas románticas. I like romantic movies. This is one sentence. This is one statement. The next one related to this topic, the romantic movies, the next sentence, it is using direct object pronoun because we are replacing the object of a sentence. Las ves? But let's suppose that we are asking we're asking this person, do you like romantic movies? In this case, we won't use direct object pronoun. No, because we will be using the verb gustar, conjugated. So it is not necessary to use gustar and direct object pronouns in the same sentence. Okay? Me gustan las películas románticas. ¿Te gustan las películas románticas? Do you like romantic movies? But since we are not questioning, we're not asking back for questioning or for double checking or so. No, we're simply asking about the same topic. We can use direct object pronoun because we are replacing what is liked. Okay, this is the way the verb gustar and direct object pronouns are going to be working together for the same meaning, to keep talking about the same meaning, the same thing, the same object, but never all together in the same clause, in the same sentence. No, never. Let's recap. Regular verbs are very easy to predict in the present tense, in past tense more or less, and in future tense definitely. Okay? Second important point, or second key point, Gustar focuses on the object being liked. Okay? If I like coffee, if I like water, fruits, lasagna, whatever, I will adapt the conjugation of the verb gustar to the object that is liked. If it's one thing, gusta. If it's about two things, gustan. And we simply change the object pronoun, remembering that the direction of the action is backwards. If we compare it to English, it is not I like, no, it is me gusta. So this thing me gusta, to me, like it likes to me. Okay, that's why we say me gusta, te gusta, le gusta, nos gusta, and le gusta, like to them or to you guys. Direct object pronouns simplify repetition. And I totally forgot the most important point. I didn't write it here. I didn't write it down here. Gustar and direct object pronouns are not going to be in the same sentence. You cannot say yo me lo gusta, yo lo me gusta, yo los me gusta. No, 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 no. Me gustan los libros. Period. Los leo en la mañana. I like books. Period. I read them in the morning. This is how those bodies work, okay? Not all together in the same sentence. Homework, because I really love leaving you homework. You have to write 3 sentences using 1, a regular verb. If it's the verb gustar, great. Oh, the next sentence, the next assignment is with the verb gustar. So never mind. First, write a regular verb, whatever you want. 2, write a sentence using the verb gustar, like a sentence with the verb gustar. And number 3, the third sentence, a sentence using an object pronoun. Let me give you an example. Write 3 sentences. Number 1, a regular verb. Yo hablo español. I speak Spanish. That is a regular verb. Number 2, with the verb gustar. Me gusta la pizza. True story. Me gusta la pizza. Number 3, a direct object pronoun. You can repeat the second sentence and link with a direct object pronoun. Example. Me gusta la pizza. Period. La como los fines de semana. I eat it on weekends. I eat it, la como. La comes first, which is it. Como, I eat it on weekends. La como los fines de semana. This is a good guide of how you can answer this homework. Okay, I'll be very, very attentive to your answers in the comments box, in the comments below. I honestly hope that this class will be useful for you guys, since I've seen this mistake a lot. even among students that are already speaking good Spanish. So because it is confusing. It is very, very confusing. Now I'm realizing that maybe Alonso was actually saying goodbye. So, that maybe he was saying goodbye. Maybe he was all the he was on the full live stream, and he was simply saying goodbye, and that was he said, and that's why he said good night, because he was saying goodbye. Sorry, I'm so sorry. If you want to greet, you will say good evening. If you want to say goodbye, you will say good night, because that is the farewell. It's not a greeting, but a farewell. Well, guys, we're done for today. I really enjoyed today's class. I really enjoy when you guys have lots of questions, because the questions enrich the class a lot, and I really enjoy it. And of course, this material will be available after this session will be finished. And I hope to see you tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll continue with English. Tomorrow we have, let me see, inversion for emphasis. That means when we have the switch, when we switch personal pronoun and a verb under the circumstance of negative sentences. This is used for emphasis. This is an advanced lesson. It will be explained. It will be fully explained in Spanish, which is my native language. And you can come over if you are studying Spanish, so you can practice your listening comprehension as well as you did today if you are studying English. I hope you enjoyed this lesson, that it will be useful. Also, remember that we have attached our ebook. If you are studying Spanish, you can acquire it. And also, we'll see you tomorrow. Take care. Practice your English. Practice your Spanish. I'll be very attentive to your homework, to your comments, to your questions. And we'll have to see you tomorrow. Have a good night. And it's been a pleasure to have you here. Kisses for you all. See you tomorrow. Take care. Bye.